And this is a first. So what this means is that an individual that we are bringing in here in short order is at the back of the diving board on the 10 meter. And she is literally running down the diving board. She's jumping off the 10 meter and she is cannonballing into the morning show. That is literally what is happening here. So we bring in Lori Lindsey for her first SDH AM cap.
It's perfect. I was like, where is this analogy going? And it was amazing. So
I mean, it's Lori. This is a morning show and it's all hands on deck on a Friday. It's just like whatever.
Yeah.
And it's just like, we're going to go ahead and hit a cannonball into a can opener and completely destroy our back. Thank you for doing this. I know that you are one of the busiest people in the business, and trying to grab you is like trying to grab a comet by the tail or catch rain between your fingers. Where exactly are you right now?
I'm in Philadelphia. That's where I live. And also, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. No, it's this is a long time coming. I'm glad that we could sit there and blend everything together and let everybody know that that you are available for like, how long do we have you? Are you good for like a good time, or are you 15, 20 minutes, or do you have?
Oh yeah, that's perfect. 15, 20 minutes is excellent.
Because I was going to sit there and say you don't have to sprint to a plane or anything like that.
No. Actually, I have a home game in Philly. So, and randomly I don't have an NWSL game tonight on Friday. So I'm home for the entire week, which is, as you mentioned, most of us are quite busy. And so I have some extra days at home, which is always welcome.
Okay, so we will discuss the home game coming up in a bit.
Okay.
Sometimes we have the younger folks that will watch these segments and the young broadcasters that want to know about what's going on in the world. Do you know how many miles you logged last year?
No clue. Just not even. But it's, the one thing that I will say is within MLS, they do a good job of keeping us regionalized. So typically I'm with Chris Whittingham, who's the play-by-play that I work with. And we kind of cover, he's in Connecticut, based in Connecticut. So we're like New York, Philly, Boston, DC. That's kind of our main region. Every once in a while I go to Charlotte. Depending on where I've been with NWSL, I might be in Orlando, but for the most part, they do a good job. So even though we're traveling most weekends, I'd probably log more miles with NWSL than I do with MLS because it's not as regionalized.
So you're probably talking 2, maybe 3 matches a week max during your season?
Yes, I would say the typical rhythm is 2. And then if we have a midweek or just kind of a random Sunday. 2 is like, Woody and I always talk about this all the time. 2 is like the sweet spot. It's like you're in a good rhythm. You're preparing for a couple different games. You're bouncing around. It's like we all pretty much enjoy, not being on the go, I would say, but like, yeah, you're moving a little bit. And that gives you like the energy to be ready for those games.
And then when you get home, you absolutely, completely, and totally crash. And it's like, I'm not hitting me. It's like you hit your alarm like 9 times.
Totally.
When you have these 2 or 3 matches in a week, everybody stylistically is different. And I know that you and Woody share notes on this. How do you compartmentalize so you don't blend information? Like you're not bringing in NWSL facts if that's the second match of the week, that you're not bringing in something, about say, the purple team in Central Florida, talking about Marta while you're in an MLS game. How do you compartmentalize your prep?
Well, I think one thing is at this point in time, we know the teams. We know that we're covering very thoroughly. I know the NWSL. I played in the NWSL. So I don't think it's so much about blending, but also I like to think of it as like there's a lot of synergy, right? I'm learning from MLS all the time. I'm learning from NWSL. How do those two things relate? How do they not? What are the differences? So I wouldn't say there's a ton of blending, but also we don't have to memorize everything. Like I use an iPad and then also like a document that I print out before games that has kind of like an ongoing general keys and the storylines and the playing styles, a little bit more tactical than that for myself in this document that I print out, but we don't have to memorize anything. So I'll speak with Whitty or whoever I'm working with prior to the game just to get it fresh in my head. And then I'll also go through all my notes. And then obviously before every game too, or maybe not obviously, but even if I know the team really well, I'll go through pronunciations with my play-by-play, make sure we're on the same page. So I say all of that because blending is not an issue with the leagues that I cover, in the sense that, again, I'm not memorizing. I have the stuff here. I get it fresh in my head. I would say when I work World Cups or Olympics or Euros, that is where, when you have all these different players from different clubs and they're in with their national team, is when you just really have to hone in on the information. And my key to that is just working my furthest match first, and then bringing it all the way to the first match. And then that's the last one I'll do, because then it'll be fresh, but then I'll still have those notes as I prepare more specifically for that last match.
Okay, before we get out of here, I do need your best Jess Sharman story, because she's one of our OGs.
Oh, I love Jess. Yes.
And so I need your best Jess Sharman story at the end. That'll be the coda. But I just, it's just like, oh yeah, she's with Jess, and so Jess, that's at the coda. All right, so you've got Nashville and Philly.
Yep.
I'm gonna phrase it this way, and I mean it in the most genuine way possible, because we do have Philly fans that are a part of our audience. What in the wide world of sports is going on in Philly?
Yeah, I think. Listen, when you look at the team and you lose, and this has been talked about already, like I covered them the first 4 weekends as well. So, and even though I'm, partial across the, like I don't have any sort of favorites. I am.
You love all of your children equally, Lori. Yeah.
Yes, I do. I am partial to Philly because I live here and I enjoy them. But listen, I think in sport, when you realize that you lose specific players and players that have a ton of experience in Major League Soccer on each line, Kai Wagner, Glesnes on the back line, Baribo on the front line, Quinn Sullivan, who was a massive piece before he got injured late last season. That's 4 players that were huge contributors on each line, but also when you think of Baribo and Kai Wagner and even Quinn Sullivan, contributors in the attack, where is the biggest struggle right now, just in terms of scoring goals. And so I don't think that can be overstated when those players also have a lot of experience, and the age that they're in too was just valuable. Even if you're not playing in MLS, you just have experience of being a professional. Now you have Philadelphia. It's the youngest team that the Union have ever had. And I think, that takes a toll. Plus, I've been in these situations as a player. You start losing a few games, there's high expectations from the season before, and it becomes more of an emotional thing than it does actual, like what is happening on the emotional and mental aspect, than it does what's actually happening on the field in terms of tactics and like physicality. So I think that combination of all of that is the issue, right? There's probably low confidence. There's also, I'm sure, belief there, but also in the specific moments, instead of things going your way, they're actually bouncing against you. And sometimes it's just like, goodness gracious, is this ever going to get better, until you need like 1 or 2 things in a row to go, actually 2 or 3 things to go your way in a row to start to change things around.
And I know that it's past the goodness gracious stage. Look, we have zero qualms about E ratings or anything like that. Like I said, we're a morning show, and I have a golden retriever brain, so anything is possible.
Yeah, fair.
Nashville. And the funky thing about Nashville is you look at all that star power up top, and we've seen it here in Atlanta, but the defense that BJ Callahan has brought forward it's crazy good. And it's like you're focused on all the shiny objects, but the back line and what's going on between the sticks has been strong, and people sit there and it's almost an afterthought, sadly.
Yeah, it really is. But I think this has been building. I mean, this is a team that was really quality under BJ Callahan last year as well. And I think now another full season with their identity. But yeah, I think you look at Andy Nahar too, the way that he's patrolling that right side, just gets up and down. I mean, they have, even though the structure is 4-4-2, they're just committed. They're committed on both sides of the ball. I was watching their game against Tigres, which was unfortunate for them to not at least get a point at home. But I've liked this. I've liked this team, and they seem energized. They have a good mix of, again, what I was mentioning about Philly is just you have experienced players that have been either with Nashville or seasoned veterans that have played professionally, and star players, right? That are Sturridge with, I think, what is it, 9 goals now?
Mm-hmm.
I'll finish up the prep today.
37 goals he's got.
Yes, it's it's exceptional, right? Mukhtar, we all know about, and so it's a really good mix of that, like workers, veteran players, experienced players. Espinoza's been great, and then extra quality that you need to be able to win. I think this game specifically, though, is going to be interesting to see how much they rotate, if they do at all, just knowing that they're going to Tigres next week. So, yeah, it should be. It's going to be an interesting one because if Philly feels like there's a game that they can take, I would imagine it's this one because no one's betting on them, right? First versus 15th. So,
well, it was wild. We were looking at the juice boxes, as we call them, in hour number 1, and Philly's favored in this.
Yeah.
Because of obviously what happened in the midweek and what
Yeah.
you're going to do, no surge. And all that was wild that Philly's favored in this one. I was kind of taken aback by that.
Yeah, that is actually interesting to be favored. I would say I don't disagree with the aspect of if there's a game to play free, knowing that like, hey, listen, if there's a game to win, now it's that, right? Coming off the Tigres loss, they have a quick turnaround. Potentially, this would be a game that Nashville would be disappointed if they lost, but it would also feel like, okay, if we lost it, it's what it is, right? So
it's just kind of like, no, we got something important we got to hang on to down here. Exactly. And with Espinoza coming in, Hani doesn't have to be the guy, capital T, capital G anymore. He can be a guy, and he can be just as frustrating. You know, he used to be the lurker at the edge of the high line, and he would, get all the poaching stuff. But now he gets to be more of a point guard and available for that 3 whenever you need him. It's not just him anymore. He's got these supporting pieces, and he can kind of lay back and conserve energy and be ready when he needs to be now.
Yeah, it's a great point because he does like to drift too, and that's when he's his best. Like he'll peel wide, he'll get into those areas just to see if he can draw defenders, but also just to pick up the ball in different areas. So yeah, you can just tell he's playing with a little bit more freedom as well. And I think because he can still be the main guy when he wants to, but it doesn't have to be every single game where they're relying on him. And then obviously if you have Sturridge, who's in the form that he's in, just getting into the box and being like a real target forward, I think that suits this team really well because then you get Espinoza and Hani just, drifting around, being able to do what they want to do and play make essentially.
All that positional gravity that we talk about sometimes. The lineup in the midweek was Schwacke, Reed Baker-Whiting, Waleji, Palacios, Nahar. I'm reading off a SofaScore. They're calling it a 4-4-2, so I'll read it as such.
Yeah.
Espinoza, Yazbek, Eddie Tagset, Alex Muil, and then Madrigal and Hani Mukhtar up top. Obviously, they sat Sam Surridge, and they bring in Corcoran, Kassem, Dan Lovitz, and Passius. And they, like I said, they sat some names. So there's some opportunity here to get those guys that were on the bench in the midweek some reps to get them ready because you don't know if you're going to be needed in this second leg to get you closer to a CONCACAF final, which is wild to say when you're saying Nashville in a CONCACAF final.
I know. And LAFC getting their win too. They end up winning. So yeah, it's it'd be fascinating if it's all MLS, if Nashville can go to Tigres and win, right? And it's all MLS final. But yeah, I would imagine we're talking to BJ later today, but I would imagine there's going to be some rotation. I mean, you just have to, right? When there's this point in time, I mean, it's still early in the season, but if you're going to really hedge your bets on going down to Tigres and getting the result and winning, you got to do some sort of rotation, but it's deep enough, right? Mm-hmm. Deep enough team. So
we were leading off, and I want to go away from your game for a second before I get your Jess Charman story before you get to go to BJ. We led off this morning with what's going on in Vancouver, and I can't let it pass without all of the discussion that's going on. You had a group come forward and go like, and we're going to put a formal bid together. We're thinking of moving them to Vegas. What is your if you want to volunteer an opinion about the idea of a sale and a reload, you can, but just about Vancouver as a franchise and part of Major League Soccer, what do you think about the situation in general?
Yeah, it's a bummer, right? Because I think when you look at how good they are and what are they, second right now behind San Jose, which is like, go on, Bruce, and your team. That's amazing.
Mhm.
I think he's still shocked from some of his press conferences, and but yeah, I mean, I think when you look at their team, the at BMO Stadium, I played there. The fans that come out, you're just really wait. BMO. Did I say that right? No, it's
BC Place.
yeah, BC Place. Thank you. I was like, that's LA. And I played in BC Place a number of times, and the fans show out. So I really hope for Vancouver that there is some sort of investor owner that's able to, or ownership group that's able to come forward.
Yes, we agree. All right.
Yes.
They need a bigger barn. They need more control of the barn, those kinds of
Yes,
newer revenue streams and all that kind of stuff.
exactly.
With the time that you spent wearing the stars and stripes, do you have your framed jersey? Do you have a framed jersey from folks? Do you believe in the framing of jerseys? Where are your jerseys? Where are they hanging in the palatial estate of Lori Lindsey?
Yes. Okay. Love this question. And actually, I have a number. So 3 years ago, I did a huge, well, actually, like about 4 years ago now, I did a huge renovation to my house. And that has been the last thing that's come to play, which is getting some jerseys framed. So I actually have a pile of art and jerseys because I have a room upstairs that I've used as like kind of an art room, but also whenever during the pandemic, when it became a little bit, I wouldn't say popular, but it was a thing to be able to call games out of your house. I use the art studio upstairs. So I'm in the process of doing all that, but I will have one of my jerseys. I actually have one of my best friends, Megan Rapinoe. The U.S. Women's National Team, one of the She Believes, what year would that have been? I'm not going to get the year right, but they all wore like on the back of their jerseys, a famous person typically. Yes, right.
Yes.
And Megan had Audre Lorde's Lorde on the back. So I have that one to be framed, which is really special. So yes, all of those actually today or Sunday will be going to the frame shop to be put in frames.
Okay.
So
yeah, just comparing notes about studio space. All right. So before you
Yeah.
get out of here,
Yours is good too. I like all the scars. I have a gazillion scars. So
just full disclosure. All right. So the boss had to reinforce. See, I'm left-handed. All right. So the boss had to reinforce the curtain rod back here.
yeah.
Because I put too many winter scarves up, and so she had to double reinforce this.
Okay.
And I've got about 450 hats because I go
Yes.
cover an event. And I'm like, I'm a hat and a t-shirt guy. And so she's like, well, do we put like a nail in the wall for each? And she's like, that might get a little bit messy. So we got our handyman to come in and install a train track about a foot down from the ceiling. And so that's where I can pyramid about 275 at any time, and I can swap them out. And you'll also notice that like here, you'll see like L joints.
Yeah.
After 13 years, the thing finally fell down, and we had to have our handyman come in and reinforce it with L joints. And so that was part of it. And by the way, Pier 1 Imports, the triple rack towel holders. That's what we've got here. So go to Pier 1, and they have like the 3-level towel racks.
Okay, 2 questions. Where are you located?
Atlanta.
Okay. Because Pier 1 Imports, I haven't heard in so long, and I'm from Indiana originally, but that was like a main.
Well, I'm 700 years old, Lori. So I mean that's kind of.
I'm not far behind you. But I love this setup. This is fantastic.
I mean, I have some things that I have to get framed. I've got a Michael Parkhurst Rhode Island C that he autographed. I got to get that in here. Let's see. So this is the quarterback for SMU for the Pony Express. He was the guy that handed off to Eric Dickerson and Craig James.
Wait, I know Eric Dickerson. He used to be an Indianapolis Colt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So his quarterback at SMU, Lance McElhenney.
Yeah.
Pony Express. So that's that one. That's a photograph that Dom DeSaya took of Vin Scully in his last year as a play-by-play for the Dodgers. Cool. And then I've got like other jerseys and things framed over there with the big 55 that I can't show because we get in trouble with TV people. Okay. Now, I need your Jess Charman story. I
Okay.
texted her before you came in this morning, and I warned her that you were coming in at 10. So I
Yes.
imagine she's probably going to catch up with you the next time you guys do your show and go, yeah, I heard about this. All right, what's your
Yes.
best Jess Charman story that you can say on the air or that you can say that we'll have to bleep later?
Okay. No, nothing is going to be bad or that you're gonna have to bleep out. But first of all, I love Jess, and we do our Sirius XM show every Monday together. So it's been a blast, and we've actually had a few games this season together too. And only one last year when she was first starting and getting involved in Apple TV with MLS. But yeah, she's fabulous. Okay, so we do this Guess Who game at the end of our Sirius XM show where it's like we have 10 questions. So we each go back every other week. We'll switch. So 10 questions to be able to guess the player that the other has come up with. And typically, because it's a women's soccer show, it is more geared towards NWSL or American players, but we do overseas as well. So 10 questions. But this isn't a great story, but it just makes me laugh every time because I would say, she's going to push back on this, that I am like killing her this season in terms of winning these Guess Who games, because geographically Jess is not the best. She's like has to mute herself and then ask our producer, wait, is this city actually the West Coast or Midwest or the East Coast? Because she's like, this country is way too big. Still learning my geography. So I try to make it as most obscure as possible about who I'm coming up with, so just to throw her off geographically. So.
Nice. That is awesome, and I can't wait to see her in her Hall of Fame blazer from Clayton State University.
Yes, I was just seeing her post something on that. So yeah, very cool for her.
So you've got Nashville and Philly this weekend. You and Chris Whittingham and the dynamic duo there at Chester. 7:40 kick, 7:30 pregame on Saturday on the Apples and Apple TV and Major League Soccer. You survived you got your first cap here on SDH AM, Lori.
Yes, thank you. Please have me back.
Absolutely. So now that you know where the garage door opener is, and you know where the key is under the mat. Friday we usually have a day of chaos anyway. And honestly, if you're sitting in an airport, you're bored out of your mind, Devin Kerr will jump in from practice fields and airports and things.
Amazing. Love Devin too.
So literally, if there's ever anything you want to vent your spleen on, just literally shoot me a text or an email and go, yo, Nelson, I need to come in. I need to get something off my chest. It's open air, and it's what we're here for. So go get brunch and hydrated and go get your workout in and have a great call with Chris, and we'll catch up with you soon, my friend. Great to see you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Hopefully this is the first of many.
First of many caps. We'll start looking the stars on the jerseys. Be good, Lori. We'll see you soon.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, there goes Lori Lindsey.